Every single morning, as you sip your premium coffee, you glance at the Zillow estimate for your house. You watch with deep satisfaction as its value ticks up by another $20,000. Or perhaps you refresh your Fidelity app, staring at the slowly compounding balance in your 401k retirement account. Looking at these numbers, you feel a profound sense of security. You might even convince yourself that you are a millionaire, an untouchable member of the wealthy elite. But the system looks at you the exact same way a predator looks at a sleepwalker wandering along the edge of a cliff, blindly clutching a bar of gold. The brutal reality is this: all it takes is kicking you out of that corporate high-rise and severing your cash flow for 3 consecutive months. In an instant, those magnificent numbers you take so much pride in will transform into a meat grinder designed to slowly suffocate you. Under the financial architecture of 2026, a midlife layoff is not just a simple career crisis. It is a highly engineered trigger mechanism built specifically to confiscate all the paper wealth you have accumulated over the past 20 years of your life. Level 1. The Severance Illusion and the Invisible Tax of Time. During the very first month after receiving your severance package, you are not actually panicked. In fact, you might even feel a strange, fleeting sense of relief. Looking at the 6 months of salary suddenly deposited into your checking account, you tell yourself that this is simply a well-deserved gap year. You calculate that you will spend a few weeks relaxing with your family, and then, leveraging 2 decades of industry connections, you will leisurely handpick your next vice president role. You effortlessly maintain the muscle memory of your so-called decent lifestyle. You still buy that $6 latte every morning. Those 2 financed European luxury cars are still gleaming in your driveway. You do not even bother to cancel your child's $200 a week private hockey lessons. In this first layer, the system administers a highly effective, gentle anesthetic. It uses a one-time lump sum of cash to completely buy off the highest level threat alarms that should be ringing in your head. But what you fail to realize is this: at your current age, the job hunting cycle is no longer measured in weeks or months. It is measured in years. Your resume is exceptionally brilliant, but the corporate algorithms scanning it only see 2 fatal unchangeable tags: too old and salary expectations too high. As the hundreds of emails you send out sink like stones into the automated void of HR databases, that seemingly generous severance package begins to evaporate at a terrifying speed. Runaway inflation, exorbitant grocery bills, and those utterly uncompromising fixed monthly expenses act as an invisible industrial pump, relentlessly draining your cash reserves day and night. Just when you think you can survive this transitional winter by making a few minor budget cuts, the true meat grinder of the system has already locked onto your weakest point. Level 2. The credit collapse and the reverse explosion of living costs. If the first level was merely burning through your excess fat, then entering the second level, the system begins to drain your blood directly from the vein. By the 3rd month, without a direct deposit from your employer, those financial institutions that used to send you glossy holiday greeting cards instantly change their faces. You are no longer the high net worth premium client, boosting their quarterly earnings. You have been downgraded into a high-risk, toxic asset on the verge of default. The first entity to launch an attack is the deadliest soft spot for the American middle class: health insurance. After losing the collective shield of your corporate plan, you are violently shoved into the COBRA system. To maintain the most basic medical coverage for your family, you suddenly realize you have to pay over $2,000 out of your own pocket every single month. Dare you cancel it? You absolutely dare not. Because in this vicious ecosystem, a single minor emergency surgery can force you straight into bankruptcy liquidation. This exorbitant subscription fee for survival does not decrease when you stop earning money. Instead, it crushes your spine with double the weight. Immediately after, your FICO score begins to violently tremble. The mortgage on your house in the premium school district, the massive property taxes that are set in stone every year, and those credit cards you maxed out just to maintain the illusion of a middle-class cash flow. Every single one of them is generating aggressive compound interest by the second. You suddenly wake up to the horrific truth. Your highly praised net worth consists entirely of illiquid concrete and rapidly depreciating used steel. You desperately try to sell that luxury SUV to scrape together some emergency cash. But when you drive it to the dealership, they smell your desperation and they offer you an insultingly low trade-in value. The system ruthlessly strips away your liquidity, trapping you inside a suffocating cage of high assets, zero cash. You think selling one of the cars and swallowing your pride to borrow money from relatives will hit the brakes before you fall off the cliff. The system has already anticipated your despair. It is waiting for you at the very bottom of the abyss, opening its jaws for your most valuable core assets. Level 3. The lawful harvest of your core assets. Now, we descend into the deadliest third level, the desperation of cutting off your own arm to survive. When every last drop of your cash reserves has been burned away, when every borrowing channel is completely sealed shut, and yet the bills continue to fall like a blizzard, you are forced to play your absolute last card. You must crack open the 401k retirement account you spent 20 years building, or sell your only home at a catastrophic loss. This is the most cold-blooded, merciless design of the entire machine. It will always wait for your most fragile moment, the exact second you are dying for cash, to force a fire sale of your assets. The moment you make an early withdrawal from your retirement fund, you are instantly slammed with massive penalty fees and exorbitant taxes by the IRS. Your own hard-earned money, simply because you are desperate enough to use it to survive, is legally sliced in half by the system. And if you can no longer hold on, if you are forced to dump the house that carries all your family's memories, before the court's foreclosure process even officially begins, you have no choice but to rush a sale at 20 to 30% below market value. And standing on the other side of the table, happily catching your bleeding assets, are the Wall Street institutional investors and the top-tier capital elites armed with infinite cash. This was never just a simple layoff. This is a highly premeditated, flawlessly executed wealth transfer. The middle-class foundation you built by trading 20 years of your youth, health, and silent endurance in the corporate grind is entirely wiped out in just 2 to 3 short years. Your equity, your real estate, your life savings, all of it flows right back into the pockets of the highest social class at a massive discount. So, this is the ultimate truth of midlife unemployment. The system never promised to let you grow old in peace. The absolute second you lose the ability to generate excess surplus value, it cold-heartedly initiates the purging protocol. It uses the most lawful, strictly compliant financial instruments to squeeze out every ounce of wealth you have consumed over the decades, with interest, and then kicks you to the curb, making room for the next, cheaper, more obedient young replacement. Are you still sitting there, feeling smug about that seemingly massive salary? Do you still believe your paper assets are enough to shield you from every risk? The system does not care about your loyalty. It does not care about your tears. It only cares about exactly when it can initiate that final liquidation against you.